I'm going to give it another 2 minutes to allow more council members to get here. Good evening. We are going to start in a minute. Today is October 28th, 2021. This public hearing has been called by the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York State, regarding the mayor's proposed budget for 2022. It is on the city's website and has been for a couple weeks for your reference. I am now calling this meeting to order, or public hearing to order at 7:06 p.m. We have 5 speakers that signed up with the clerk ahead of time. Elisa, can I have the first speaker, please?
Jean Jacobs.
Hi, Jean.
Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, members of the Common Council and our Alderman at Large President. I'd like to speak this evening at the public hearing for the budget, which I will attest to you all, I have not had the opportunity to review it in its entirety. But I would like to first thank all those involved in the budget process. John Toohey, I do know it is an arduous task, and I compliment them on their effort, but let me move on. 2021 budget, $43,120,685. Moving forward to 46,681,768, an 8.3 increase of 3,561. So I stated I do not support the budget in its present form, the mayor's budget, that is. $10,000 increase in salary. I do not support the $107,000. If I have that incorrectly, you can correct me, for the consultant that is going to be assisting in the American Rescue Plan. I also, of 18.4 million. Also, the 80,000 plus benefits salary for the chief of staff. I cannot support that. I do not feel that is something that we, the taxpayers, can afford at this point in time. And I feel we have current staff that can accomplish this. I could accomplish it. I know the provisions. I spoke to the federal government today. I know, in fact, that the American Rescue Plan has to be acted on immediately, not 4 years. There are people in need of those funds. I urge all of you on the Common Council to read up on the American Rescue Plan, and you will understand what I'm talking about. Higher pay would commensurate with similar nearby cities and ensure the position attracts talented candidates with municipal experience. No, no, no. Listen, we all are evaluated in this world based on our ability to perform the job. The mayor of the city of Kingston, an elected official by the people, they voted him in confidence. They had the confidence in the 3,500 votes when they voted the mayor in 2019 to do the job. Now, the public should have a say in if we're going forward and that we're going to be increasing the cost here of the mayor's salary. Nothing against the mayor personally, absolutely not. I'm a finance person. I worked in finances all my life. So apples and oranges. I had a little discussion with a former member of the city the other day on Facebook, I admit. And, oh, there's 90 more people that make more than the mayor. That's fine. Wonderful. They earned it. Because maybe their union decided this is what they're worth. You cannot measure apples and oranges like that. You have to look at the position and you have to look at the person if they're qualified to do the job. And I must say, Roy, the secretary, is going to be getting an increase of almost 5,000. A very nice gentleman. Never have had a problem with him. Always receptive. But I'm wondering, was he evaluated? Did he have an evaluation? That's important. I did evaluations all my life for over 80 people. Moving on, the national debt is at 28 trillion, and that is 87,468 for every single American if they were to pay into the debt. That is an exceptional, so simple. It's simple here. When the federal government spends more than it takes in, we have to borrow money to cover the shortfall or the deficit. Well, that's what the taxpayers are doing in the city of Kingston. And we absolutely, positively cannot continue to afford it. I understand the article read that, in fact, we have kept the tax levy or the line for 7 years for the taxpayers. No, no, no. And where are the priorities? Have the Elmendorf Street not fixed for endlessly. Scott Denny puts pictures on the other day of all of the sidewalks and the roads all falling, and yet we're spending more money and not fixing what we already know is falling apart. I'm not following it, members of the Common Council. I think the public deserves answers here. We have to be frugal here in spending our money. There is no money. When I just told you that the national deficit is 28 trillion, and New York State just received 540 million for landlords, tenants, and homeowners so they don't lose their home. The pandemic is still alive and well. On Channel 6 News the other day, local Hudson Valley businesses are not coming back, and they don't think they ever will. And many are not coming back at all. So we're not out of this pandemic, but yet we, the people in the city of Kingston, are spending more money and not taking care of what we already should be. So I urge all of you here this evening to look at the budget that we are currently faced with by it's the mayor's budget, respectfully, not disrespecting that. But I urge you all to understand there is no money. There should be a freeze. There should have been a freeze on the spend. $2 million on Planet Wings, yet the sidewalks uptown are crumbling apart and a liability for people if they fall. So I urge you to all take this into consideration when you're reviewing the end. Our law enforcement waited 3 years for a contract. Unacceptable. That should have been the first order of business. So I urge, and that's not just current, that occurred previously. But what I'm saying, put your priorities in order, create a needs assessment, create your goals and expectations for the immediate future, and create a timeline. Thank you for this opportunity. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Jean. Next speaker, please.
Ellen Defalco.
Ellen, are you there?
Hello.
Hi, Ellen. Hi, Ellen.
Hi. Hi. Good evening. This is Ellen Defalco. I live at 66 Glen Street here in the city of Kingston. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening to address my concerns on the 2022 city budget. First and foremost, this virtual public hearing is cumbersome for many to navigate. There is no reasonable excuse for continuing to have virtual meetings, except you can continue to hold us hostage. We endured the lockdown last year during extreme circumstances. It's time to stop the Zoom, the YouTube, and the phone-in connections to cover the requirements for open meetings. Open up the council chambers so the public can attend live in-person meetings. Now, about the budget, unrealistic anticipated revenue projections are inflated, but are still being used to balance the budget. This document fails to compare the current benchmark for revenues. It is also confusing to locate personnel salaries in another department line when they should be listed in their own department budget. You have 3 locations to search for many positions, which is unacceptable. I am appalled there is an outrageous $10,000 increase proposed for the mayor, a new chief of staff position at $80,000 to manage the American Rescue Plan funds, and 4 new project manager positions. You should consider asking yourselves why the mayor needs an $80,000 a year chief of staff, which, by the way, could remain on the payroll for at least 4 years because that's the time frame the funds can be utilized, and why the Health and Wellness Department requires 2 project managers at $55,000 each, while the project manager in the engineer's office is $41,250, and another $55,000 project manager in the rec department's administration. Take a serious look at the 23 new positions in this budget and ask whether they have value or will they become a liability for the city taxpayers. The new hires mentioned are not necessary. In fact, you could easily redline several existing positions and departments. Quality of life and public safety are paramount for the residents of this city. I do support funding increases in key departments that provide essential services to the residents of the city with the additional staff proposed in the police department, the DPW, and the building and safety. But to raise base salary 17.8% to 27.7% for some positions is short-sighted, misplaced, and unfair. Salary adjustments should be done across the board for all CSEA employees during union contract negotiations. We have the backlash of COVID affecting every business, small or large. We have displaced workers and some homeowners in the mix losing their dwellings. We are all suffering with gas, home heating fuel, electric, and grocery prices rising. Inflation has started to take its toll on all of us and will skyrocket. I urge you to proceed with caution when finalizing this budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen. Next speaker, please.
Okay.
Clark Richter.
Clark, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Clark.
I'm here.
Yep, you're all set to talk.
All right, thank you very much. My name's Clark Richter. So I live at 3 Garrigan Drive, City of Kingston, / blogger, reporter. I've been doing it, following the council for several years. And I gotta say, even though we have the technology, it is kind of, I have to agree with Ellen Defalco, it is kind of, I couldn't imagine somebody that's not familiar with the whole Zoom process. And I have to say, it's like, we can have it where you can have the call-ins, just one number, hopefully, because putting the password and all that, it is kind of like overwhelming. And then you can have a little space in the city hall, because it doesn't make sense if you're allowed to go out and, have a drink in a bar, but you can't go to a city hall meeting to follow your government. I'm going to ask the council again. I've spoke several times about more transparency. The mayor has ran on transparency, and even though I am communicating with his communication director, he, for some reason, the mayor, when I mentioned about public access, he, for some reason, is just blowing me off, not returning my phone calls, and now I'm just going to publicly do it, publicly by meetings, publicly by blogs, or whatever I could use. If I have to stand on the street corner like a crier until the mayor calls me back and starts explaining to me why the city, for years, and I know the whole, they because it's their money. It's not their money. We're paying a franchise tax, and you're collecting $410,000, and you're putting into the general fund. And I'm not asking for all of it, just a little bit, to make that station a little bit better, so you could put notices on the TV and or Facebook, because as you're aware, there is an issue with Facebook. The city of Kingston should really take, I would say, extremely be careful of posting stuff on Facebook. You should utilize your public access first, and then the announcement, yes, put it up there. But when you're using it just to communicate, it doesn't work, because when it went down, you could not get any information out of the Facebook. So if you updated your website and you made it, I would say, user-friendly, combination of updating the whole public access thing, so when you're posting this meeting, this public hearing, it could be streamed over TV and people can hear it instead of hearing it like a couple days later. And it's not only the city of Kingston, all the towns involved are collecting over $500,000 in revenue, and they're not putting nothing towards the TV. We have Channel 20 still being on a status bar, which violates the Cable Act right now. So that only opens the city of Kingston for litigation as far as them receiving the money. The right-of-way is supposed to be our right-of-way, and seeing a channel that's got rainbow colors is not my way of, my right of way. And I have to say, it's like, even though like I've been involved, I'm still on the press release, so I try to keep it where I'm reporting, but I get frustrated when the city and the council are not listening to my concerns. And it's your residents that you're supposed to be informing. It shouldn't be.
Clark,
It's like, yes,
Clark, I just want to, Clark,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The hearing is on the budget, so if you could just keep it to that. I understand that you were talking
Well,
about.
the franchise tax is a big part of
I completely agree. I just wanted
budget.
to make sure everybody knew it because I didn't say it earlier, so that's all. Just wanted to, but please continue.
Okay, so I mean, the council is gonna, I'm sure they're gonna go through it and look at, but I would say, optimistic about the council taking any kind of franchise funding and really putting it to use. So I don't support the mayor's budget because it's the same thing. It's like a rubber stamp to the council when it comes to franchise. And today it's still, I guess it's being negotiated. Still, the franchise is still being negotiated, and I think it's really, this is the time that you really should be, talking to Spectrum and making things much more easier for the public to follow government, because that's what it's supposed to be for. And like I said, I have the opportunity to jump on a computer, and even I'm experienced with the computer. It's still frustrating to me to try to dial the number, put the password in, where I'm sure you guys can figure out, just make it like one number, call City Hall, for a public comment, and that's it. If you want to get, or like what Ellen Defalco, have a room available where you can go there and there. So back to the budget, is like, I don't support this budget until the mayor and the council, funds not all of the money, but just a little bit for it, where you can make that station much more communication transparent. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Clark. Next speaker, please.
Scott Denny.
Scott, you there? Scott, I think you have to press, Elisa, what is it? Star six? Star six?
Yes.
Yeah. Scott, if you're there calling in, all you have to do is press star six, and then you should be able to unmute yourself, or you will be unmuted. All right, we'll come back to you, Scott. Can I have the next speaker, please?
Howard Ball.
Good evening, members of the council. My name is Howard Ball. I'm the labor relations specialist with CSEA. I'm speaking tonight in support of the mayor's budget as it pertains to the salary increases for CSEA. We've heard some talk about the amounts or the percentages of those salary increases. The city of Kingston, like a few other municipalities, we're heading toward a situation of not being able to staff positions because of salary. Quite honestly, the county was in their DPW was in a catastrophic situation until very recently, when they were the lowest paid, not only in the entire county, but in every municipality and county that surrounded us. The city of Kingston is pretty damn near close to that right now, in being the lowest. You might not be the lowest, but you're in many instances you are, and you're currently losing staff to other municipalities. You're losing staff to the private sector. You're at a situation where you're not able to attract qualified staff because of the salary. The mayor had the insight to make an adjustment that will change that. and also, provide a more living wage for some of our lower or lowest paid CSEA members. Absent making these adjustments, and quite honestly, you almost have to do it all at once, because if you don't do it all at once, the other municipalities are still going to just take off way ahead of you. This change in these dollars does not even put Kingston at the top. It doesn't even put Kingston in the top 50%, quite honestly. You're still in the lower 50%, but at least you're in a situation where you can now compete a little bit for qualified staff and retain qualified staff. So again, we are in support of the wage increases that was outlined in the mayor's budget. Every one of our members are going to see a benefit in this budget, some more than others, but every one of our members will see some benefit in this budget. And we are absolutely in support of the financial part of that budget. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going back around to see if Scott wanted to speak. Scott, if you want to speak, just press *6 on your phone and then you could join us. Is there anybody else who would like to speak on the budget? Is there anyone else who would like to speak on the budget? Is there anyone else who would like to speak on the budget? Hearing nobody else. All right, just got a text. Okay, yep. Hearing nobody else, I am closing this public hearing at 7:29 p.m. Thank you all for coming out. The council will have the Finance and Audit Committee meetings throughout the month of November. All of our meetings are listed on the city's website. You could also find the mayor's proposed budget on the city's website as well. And you can always reach out to your alderman. Thank you very much and have